This is a Blairing Out with Eric Blair show at the 2015 NAMM, and I'm here with Fredo, drummer of Morningwood, Tenacious D, and the Beastie Boys.
What the heck is going on?
What was your first huge gig that you got that was life-changing?
Beastie Boys was probably the first life-changing gig that I got, because I grew up in Los Angeles, was a part of bands out of high school that we ended up playing in Hollywood and Viper Room and Whiskey, and I met someone by the name of Money Mark in Hollywood, and he was the keyboardist of the Beastie Boys. They were looking for a percussionist at the time, Latin percussionist, conga player, tambourine guy, shaker. I ended up doing some of those things, and he let me know about the gig, and of course I was a fan. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll try out, whatever you need. And about 2 weeks went by. I'm like, this guy's not going to call me. He calls me up. He's like, rehearsals are in 2 weeks. You got the gig. And we went to Australia for our first gig, you know, and got to rehearse at their studio in Atwater Village, G-Sun. They had a half pipe in there, a basketball court. You know, that's the legendary, like, Cali studio that they had.
What year was this?
This was end of 1995, January of 96.
Okay.
And the first tour was to Australia. It was called Somersault Tour. It had a lot of U.S. bands and local bands, ones that I loved. Beastie Boys headline. We had Jawbreaker on there, who I love. Bikini Kill, Pavement, Beck, Foo Fighters, The Amps. Like, it was kind of like, I wasn't kind of in heaven, because those are bands I listened to. You know, I'm a 90s kid, but I was born in the 70s, but it's like, you know, I love all that stuff. So that was something that I was like, wow. And I was a part of the headlining band. I was there like a kid in a candy store going like, I got free pass to meet all these musicians. Rancid was there too, you know, just like, but I'm still in the headlining band. Wait a minute, what's going on here? That was pretty mind-blowing, you know. And then I got to go to Asia. And before all that, I never been out of the country, so it's like, you know, I thought I was going to be an LA kid forever.
You guys played with Bikini Kill?
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
And wasn't Adam dating Kathleen Hanna at that time?
They met on that tour, I think, or that's what, you know, rekindled a relationship, where I think they had met previously, and, you know, I think everybody on the tour was like, yeah, we should hook them up together. And I got to meet her on that tour, and she was just an amazing person. I don't know if you've seen her documentary that came out, The Punk Singer, and it's just like, it kind of hits home, you know, and like just being there and being part of that experience and seeing somebody's life blossom, you know, into an amazing relationship, and to be a part of that family myself, you know, where it's like all we want to do is go eat and like talk shit and, like, you know, just hang out, you know.
Tell me about Kathleen Hanna's personality.
She is a very loving, caring person. I mean, you know, it's like, from what you see in media and everything, you know, in the end, it's just like, she just wants to have fun. You know, I think when I first met her, she's like, let's go have some beers and go skateboarding. I have a skateboard, you know, which was also in her video, but I was like, I had the same experience where I was just like, oh yeah, I'll hang out with you. Like, what the hell, you know, and just like caught up, and she learned all about me. She asked me about who I was and what do I do, and I was telling her about my bands in LA, and she's like, I want a record, send me a record. So I sent her records back then, mailed her a Yeska record, and that, you know, that's the type of person she was, and she was just open to know who you were, and, you know, forget all the BS around what we're all dealing with, you know, all the rock stardom. We just want to like hang and just have fun, you know.
Now, tell me about your relationship with the Beastie Boys. What was that like? Why did they pick you?
They picked me probably because I was young and not a problem. You know, not that anybody else was a problem. I don't know. When I met Money Mark, I think somebody had suggested to him that I was a percussionist and he should ask me about possibly, you know, playing. And when I went, and first gig was with Money Mark. It was downtown Los Angeles at a place called 50 Bucks. It was, he hired me as a percussionist for Money Mark Band. And then he tells me that, hey, I invited the boys, they're going to come check it out. I didn't know that was kind of sort of my audition, and I thought I was going to play drum set, actually. And he's like, bring your conga. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll bring it. I had just started playing congas and stuff, and so we do the show, and I get introduced to them, and, you know, I meet both Adams, Adam Yauch and Adam Horowitz, and they're like, hey, man, sounds good up there. I'm like, you know, I'm a fan, so I'm just like, I'm silent. I'm like, dude, thanks, you know. apparently that was my audition, and they were like, yeah, let's take him on tour with us, you know. And they've had many percussionists, you know, young and old. I was probably the youngest, you know, so I was the rookie. I was the tour rookie.
Sabotage and Check Your Head.
Oh yeah.
That was the stuff I partied to during that period of my life.
I mean, even when I saw them, there was like that MTV Awards performance when they all came out in suits and played Sabotage.
Oh, dude.
And I was just and I was kind of like jealous of like Adam Harvest's glasses. I'm like, dude, those glasses are gangster. Look at these guys, look like pimps on stage. And look at, they got a keyboardist and percussionist. What's going on? And they just killed, you know, and that influenced me. You know, that influenced the way I listen to music, the way I see style, the way I, you know, perform now, the way I carry myself. You know, they had a lot to do with, you know, me growing up to their music.
Tell me about the personalities of the Beastie Boys.
As far as their personalities, man, it's all family. You know, they all come to me with open arms. You know, Adam was very nice. Adam Yauch was one later on in the years, was one to tell me, hey, put out a record, man. Do it, just do it. He's like, I played on my music, you know, and I was kind of nervous because you know, when you're playing somebody, you know, people who have been making records for years and like, here's what I did. And he's like, dude, sounds good, put it out, you know. And Horvitz has been a homie to me forever, you know. He's the one that we can just like nerd out and just like go eat and just like talk shit. And Mike D's been cool too, man. He loves to surf. I don't surf, you know, so he's always surfing and stuff. But, you know, they all came with open arms. And every year that went by that, you know, they would always call me and ask if I wanted to go on tour. And of course I would say yes. You know, I'd drop everything and just go. But every year they could have asked anybody else. They could have been like, yeah, why don't we get this other guy? But they always asked me, and I always took it. You know, so from 1996 to 2009, you know, I was their guy, and it was family, dude. It's like, I don't know, it's probably, I heard one person say who was like on a catering part of a tour, and she's like, you guys are the only band I've ever worked for that actually was family. Like, after the show, it wouldn't be like everybody go home, artists this way. We would be like, hey, who wants to go eat? Hey, does any of the catering want to go eat? We're going to go eat. Like, it was just all a family affair.
Ad Rock, when he was going out with Kathleen Hanna, how many rock stars do you know that would stay with their wife when she's sick?
Right.
How many people would do that? Not many people in this industry do that, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, it's all about hedonism, man. Let's screw this. I got a life to live.
Right. Yeah. Are you gonna, you know? Well,
that says a lot about him as a person.
It definitely does, you know. And I think at that point in his career, I think he could also be like, okay, you know what? I could sit back, you know, and be able to take care of this person.
Do you know about what the future is going to be with the Beastie Boys? Do you still talk to them?
I still talk to them. You know, I can't say what they're going to do as far as the Beastie Boys is concerned. I mean, I would guess that, you know, they're missing a third of their band, and that's them. You can't have, I mean, you know, the Three Stooges replaced Curly, but you can't really, it's never the same Three Stooges, you know? It's like, you got to have Curly, like that. He was the OG, you know? They could do holograms of Adam Yauch or something, but he doesn't want that, you know? They've fucking put a mark in this, you know, whole musical industry, and it's like, I think they're good, you know. They don't need to continue, you know, especially without their friend, you know. As far as them playing and performing, they're both still doing music. You know, I think Mike D was getting into like, he was like chief editor of a magazine, surf magazine or something like that, you know. But a friend of mine just told me, he's like, hey, I just did some drum sessions for Mike D, so he's recording.
Tell me how the Morningwood gig came about, and what was it like working with Chantal Claret?
Well, Morningwood gig came about, I guess I kind of credit this to the Beastie Boys as well. Beastie Boys kind of was the center of my universe where I was introduced to a lot of people, and through Money Mark, actually. Money Mark was probably the main guy who introduced me to a guy named Pedro Yanowitz. He was a drummer for Wallflowers early on in the early years with Money Mark, actually. And then they both left, and then that's when all the hits happened, you know. But he was a drummer first, but he wanted to start a band, and I guess I met up with them in 2006. They probably started in 2004, and they had toured. You know, they had a guitarist from Space Hog in the band, and like it kept, you know, the incarnations kept morphing. And by the time I came in, they needed a drummer, and I think I was I'm always the last on somebody's mind, not because I'm the last, but they're like, wait a minute, I think Fredo might be able to do this. And I'm sitting at home eating cheeseburgers and jalapeno poppers, and then I get a phone call. They're like, hey, what are you doing next week? Can you learn 30 songs in like 2 days and come play with our band? And at the time, I didn't want to be like a full-on band member. I was like, you know what, I'll come fill in for your band and you guys find somebody else. It turned into about 1.5 years worth of touring. I think we did Letterman about 5 times, and we did all the TV shows. We did Carson Daly, we did Conan O'Brien. So as like for me as a side musician, as a work for hire, you know, I always find myself in unique situations, but then I end up becoming a part of the family. I don't think I've ever had a situation where I didn't like where I was at, you know. After the Beastie Boys, I joined the Offspring for a tour, and that was like for, you know, about a month, you know, and I was playing one song. So and they were all cool guys, and I used to watch them play, you know, but you know, coming back to Morningwood, it was like we also became a family. We went all over the world and toured, you know.
What's awesome about Chantal Claret?
Chantal is the most amazing front woman that I've ever seen. You got to check her out. She's doing her solo project now, and she's amazing. I love her. I'll always worship her. Namm is the greatest candy store ever, and I want to take it all home, but I can't. But I got some of the stuff, but you know.
What you're up to now?
Right now, I put out my solo project called Bongoloids, BONGOLIDZ.com. It's my solo project. I'm playing drums, keyboards, singing. It's kind of an indie rock / hip hop / cumbia record. And I'm also now going to start drumming with a band called Go-Go Bordello out of New York City. So look out for some tour dates coming up, and yeah, man.
Fredo, it's been great talking to you. God bless you. Blurring Out with Eric Blair Show with Fredo at the 2015 NAMM, signing off.
The Blurring Out Show.